In this video, we are diving deep into the haunting world of the analog horror series ASL. This brilliant masterpiece was created by a visionary digital artist named Spencer, a creator widely feared and celebrated for his deeply unsettling and terrifying videos across TikTok and Instagram. If you love pure psychological horror, I highly recommend checking his work out right after this breakdown. But before we uncover the dark secrets of this story, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Story from Shadow so you never miss another deep dive. Now, let's step into the silence. First of all, we must understand the true meaning behind the title of the video, which is ASL. ASL is a highly famous abbreviation that was used all the time in internet chat rooms back in the day. It was a direct question asking for the age, sex, and location of the person you wanted to get to know. This means that a long time ago, when someone wanted to meet a brand new person on the internet, they would simply type ASL in the chat box, which was a quick way of asking, are you a boy or a girl? How old are you? And what country are you from? That was the underlying meaning behind the title of the video. And now, let's enter the story. The video begins on the date of November 25th, 1997, at exactly 9:02 a.m., with the main protagonist of our video, whose name is Victor Torrence. Victor tells us that he immediately noticed something highly unusual, which was that the door to his brother's bedroom was completely closed and shut. This felt incredibly strange to him because his brother usually wakes up long before he does. However, Victor did not pay too much attention to the matter at that moment, and he proceeded to start his day in a perfectly normal way. When he went downstairs to the ground floor, he found that his mother had already prepared his usual morning coffee for him in the kitchen, just like she always did. However, she was nowhere to be found inside the house, and it wasn't just his mother who was missing from the home. It turned out that absolutely no one from his family was present anywhere inside the house. Victor had absolutely no idea why there wasn't a single person home, and he could not comprehend where they had all gone. Following this, we witness a conversation between two people chatting inside one of the internet chat rooms. At the exact same time, we can clearly see a police department logo displayed in the right-hand corner of the screen. This signifies that this specific chat log's conversation has a direct connection to a crime or official case that the police are actively investigating. The two individuals who were talking to each other in the chat room are completely anonymous, and we do not know their true identities at first. However, as we advance further into the video, we will discover that the person using the username Piazzle Baba is none other than Victor Torrence himself, the main protagonist of the video. As for the second person, whose username is Somseed 131, she is a girl that Victor recently met and got to know on the internet. The text conversation unfolds as follows. Victor asks Somseed where she is from, and she answers him briefly. And then Victor tells her, I love you. But the girl completely fails to give him any response. After that, we move to 12:06 p.m., which is exactly 3 hours later. Victor states that still, absolutely no one from his family has returned back to the house. He even went as far as to ask his next-door neighbor if she had any idea where they had gone, but the neighbor told her that she had not seen them leave the house at all, and had absolutely no clue where they could be. At that moment, Victor seriously considers calling the police, but he ultimately changes his mind. At 9 p.m., Victor suddenly hears a highly disturbing and strange noise echoing from deep within the basement. Naturally, Victor becomes absolutely terrified, and he runs straight to hide inside his bedroom. However, at exactly 11 p.m., he hears the exact same disturbing noise from the basement once more, but this time the sound was significantly louder and far clearer than the first time. Of course, Victor completely fails to get any sleep that entire night, and he keeps constantly questioning himself about where his family went and why they haven't returned back home up to this very moment. He firmly decides that he will call the police first thing the next day. Following this, a video is displayed on the screen bearing the date of February 7th, which is exactly 9 months and 20 days prior to the mysterious disappearance of Victor's family. Victor appears in this footage and begins to introduce himself to the audience. We learn that Victor is 17 years old, and he possesses a deep passion for making documentary films. He states that he firmly believes documentary films are the absolute best medium to make a viewer genuinely feel deep emotions. Emotions such as raw curiosity, love, and terror. I want you to remember these words very carefully because we're going to return to this specific philosophy in just a moment. Anyway, on the very next day, which is November 26th, specifically at 9 a.m., Victor notices that his brother's bedroom door is still completely closed and shut, and his parents' master bedroom remains completely empty. When he walks downstairs into the kitchen, he found his morning coffee prepared for him just like every other day, but his family has still not returned to the house for the second day in a row. After that, we see a brand new chat conversation between Victor and the mysterious girl named Somseed. Victor tells him that he completely cannot stop himself from thinking about her, and she responds by telling him that he should never stop thinking about her. It appears that Victor has become entirely obsessed with this girl, and she has taken complete control over his thoughts and mind. Following this, Victor tells us that he spent the entire day wandering around the empty house, trying to investigate and discover exactly where his family disappeared to and why they hadn't returned home. But all his efforts were entirely in vain. After a while, Victor began to experience severe boredom due to being completely alone in the house by himself. Because of this, he decides to watch some of the old videos that he had filmed himself in the past. However, he notices something deeply unsettling and bizarre in one of the videos. This video happens to be the exact same one we saw a moment ago, where Victor was introducing himself and sharing his passion for documentaries. But this time, we noticed that there was a strange person who briefly appeared in the background of the video. Victor firmly believes that the face of the strange person appearing in the video is actually his own face, as if it were a mirror replica or a second version of Victor himself. After that, the video transitions to 3:05 a.m., well after midnight. In this footage, Victor hears the clear sound of movement from the basement again. Once more, Victor says that he will call the police the next day. Next, we move to the following day, which is November 27th, specifically at 6 a.m. It is completely obvious that Victor was unable to sleep for the entire night. Following this, Victor begins to film the morning. He is filming a video and stating that he was supposed to call the police 2 days ago. However, he truly believed that the situation wasn't that serious and didn't warrant it, thinking that they could return home at any given moment. But he was completely wrong. After that, Victor speaks about a nightmare he experienced while he was asleep. He says he dreamed that he was inside the basement, feeling an intense, suffocating heat, as if he were trapped inside an actual oven. When he reached the very end of the hallway located in the basement, he discovered a white door that was definitely not supposed to be down there. The moment he opened that white door, he was overcome with an overwhelming sense of dread and absolute terror, yet he didn't find any other strange anomalies right away. The second door had light leaking out from the cracks within the wood, and Victor felt a deep, chilling sensation that something was patiently waiting for him right behind that door. Before Victor can finish explaining exactly what happened in the basement, he suddenly glances next to him with a bizarre, terrified look in his eyes, and the video abruptly cuts off without any explanation. Following this, a text conversation is displayed for the second time between Victor and Somseed. This time, Victor is desperately begging her to come over to his house because he is terrified out of his mind and deeply needs her help. True to her word, the girl tells him that she will be there at his place as quickly as possible. By 7:30, Victor states that he is starting to hear highly disturbing, strange noises echoing throughout the house, resembling muffled footsteps and eerie, bizarre whispering sounds. Occasionally, he even hears the distinct sound of screaming. Because of this, Victor decides to lock himself securely inside his bedroom due to his sheer terror of these noises. In a desperate attempt to minimize his creeping sense of fear, he decides to watch some old videotapes that he had personally filmed years ago. The footage that Victor was watching is then displayed on the screen. The first 2 clips are completely normal and don't contain anything unusual whatsoever. However, the third clip was highly unsettling and bizarre. This specific clip was titled Self-Portrait, and it prominently displays a roaring flash of fire. The exact date when this footage was filmed was completely unknown. And Victor even explicitly states that he has absolutely no memory of ever filming this clip in his life. And this wasn't the only strange video that Victor unearthed. He also discovers a second tape that he knows absolutely nothing about. This particular tape was titled Nightmare, and it was supposedly filmed on that exact same day, November 27th. The video contained on this strange tape is then shown. As we just witnessed in the footage, this is the exact same bizarre nightmare that Victor just said he dreamed about. The one where he was down in the basement and located a door with light pouring out of it. However, the video explicitly reveals the one thing that Victor didn't talk about, the actual entity he witnessed when he opened that door. But how on earth could a dream that Victor experienced be physically filmed in this manner, and how could it possibly be recorded on the exact same day that Victor had the dream? That is completely impossible, unless the story that Victor narrated wasn't a mere dream at all, and what he described actually took place in real life. After that, we return back to the text conversation between Victor and Somseed. Victor asks her where she is currently located, and the girl answers him briefly, saying, "I'm here." Following this, a breaking news report from a television broadcasting station states that the police have successfully discovered 3 corpses inside a residential home, following a traced telephone call received from an anonymous individual. The identities of these 3 corpses were officially confirmed and established. It turned out that they were Daniel and Ellen Torrence, along with their eldest son, Brian Torrence. These individuals are, of course, Victor's immediate family members who had been reported missing for days. We learn that the moment the police arrived at the house and located the corpses, they immediately arrested Victor, seeing that he was the absolute only individual present at the scene and found alive. The police actually discovered solid, incriminating evidence implicating Victor, proving that he was indeed the one who committed this horrific crime and slaughtered his own family. Right after that, the official audio recording of the police officer who initially discovered the crime scene is played. The officer states that as he approached the house, he began to hear loud screaming coming from deep inside the residence. At that moment, the police forcefully breached the house, and when they descended into the basement, they found Victor crying hysterically. Right in front of him lay the corpses of his father, his mother, and his brother. The moment the police saw Victor, he began frantically pointing towards a dark corner of the room, crying out that she was the one who did this, that she had lied to him, and the rest of his words were completely garbled. Naturally, the police completely disbelieved everything that Victor was saying, because quite simply, there was no other person present anywhere in the facility besides him. Therefore, the police placed Victor under arrest immediately. They discovered that the victims had been deceased for a significant amount of time, and they subsequently located a knife heavily stained with blood in the kitchen. The police logically concluded that this was the actual murder weapon used in the crime. However, the glaring anomaly here is that Victor had walked into the kitchen multiple times over the past couple of days. So how on earth did he fail to notice a bloody knife sitting right there? Anyway, the absolute last piece of evidence that the police discovered inside the victim's home was a videotape titled Somseed 136. This is the exact same username belonging to the girl Victor had been texting from the very beginning of the video. The footage found on that tape, named Somseed 136, is then displayed on the screen. It is highly obvious that the entities appearing in this video are indeed the victims themselves, but they appear in highly grotesque, unnatural, and completely bizarre forms. After that, the remainder of the text conversation is displayed for the very last time between Victor and Somseed. We see that the girl finally responds to Victor and tells him that she is currently located right inside the basement. Immediately after that, a final video clip is shown on the screen, which was successfully recovered from Victor's personal video camera. This happened to be the absolute last video footage that Victor ever recorded in his life before the police forcibly arrived at the residential home. Now, let us try to investigate and discover who was the true culprit responsible for this horrific crime. Did Victor actually do this himself and slaughter them? Or was there an entirely different entity or something else behind everything that unfolded? Actually, one of the comments left on the video was highly important and revealing. This specific comment stated that the word Somseed is merely an anagram, meaning a rearrangement of the exact letters that form the word Asmodeus. If you happen to be unfamiliar with who Asmodeus is a highly powerful demonic entity who has been explicitly mentioned across various religions, historical texts, and deep cultural mythologies. He is widely considered to be one of the absolute most powerful kings of demons, historically responsible for spreading intense lust and carnal desires among human beings. Furthermore, he is known to send his personal followers, minions, or demonic spirits to intentionally plant highly disturbing nightmares into the minds of humans, or to force compulsive desires upon them that aggressively drive individuals to blindly follow their raw instincts instead of following their logic and reason. In short, the loyal followers and servants of Asmodeus completely seize and dominate the minds of human beings. If we choose to assume that Somseed is indeed one of the loyal followers of Asmodeus, we will immediately notice that Victor was completely obsessed with her in a highly unnatural and unhealthy manner, as if she had successfully taken total control over his entire thought process and mind. Seeing that Somseed is one of the distinct followers of Asmodeus, this directly implies that Somseed is an actual demon or a malevolent spirit. She could have easily possessed the individual members of Victor's family, because we clearly witnessed Victor's family behaving in a highly grotesque, unnatural, and bizarre fashion in this video, as if they were fully subjected to severe demonic possession and spiritual manipulation. Moreover, if we step back and analyze the strange, disturbing audio that Victor kept hearing down in the basement, we will distinctly notice that it sounds exactly like a real audio clip taken from an actual case of a demonic exorcism. Specifically, it sounds like a portion of the real-world exorcism sessions that were performed on the young girl named Annalise Michael, whom we have previously discussed in detail right here in this video. This heavily solidifies the theory that Somseed is indeed a literal demon from the direct legion of Asmodeus, and she is the true entity who possessed Victor's family before ultimately ending their lives. If you are wondering why she would murder them, it is widely known regarding the loyal followers of Asmodeus that they constantly offer human sacrifices as literal blood offerings to please and appease Asmodeus. However, she didn't eliminate the entire family completely. She intentionally left behind the final surviving victim, who is Victor, for the sole purpose of ensuring that he would be fully blamed, framed, and prosecuted for the entire crime. Or, on the other hand, it is highly possible that Somseed actually possessed Victor himself, taking full control of his body and forcing him to brutally eliminate his own family. It is also highly likely that Somseed was the exact anonymous individual who initially called and tipped off the police, because the police department explicitly stated that they merely traced a telephone call received from an anonymous person, and the officers never stated that this caller was Victor. By doing this, Somseed would have completely and meticulously destroyed the entire family down to the last member. There is also a second piece of solid evidence proving that Somseed is an actual demon, and this evidence is found in the videotape titled Self-Portrait. In that clip, a roaring flash of fire is prominently displayed on the screen, and during that action, Somseed was practically telling us that this fire is exactly who she is. And of course, we are all well aware that demons are historically known to be created directly from fire. That was the first possibility, or the primary theory. However, I also possess a second entirely different theory, which is that Victor is actually a deeply disturbed, severely psychotic individual, and he was indeed the one who committed this horrific crime and slaughtered his own family. A highly powerful piece of evidence appeared in the video that firmly supports this claim, and this evidence lies within Victor's own words when he stated that documentary filmmaking is the absolute best way to convey real-life reality exactly as it is, and the absolute best medium to make a viewer genuinely experience intense feelings of love, curiosity, and terror. I believe his philosophy implies that to make someone truly feel an emotion, you must experience and orchestrate it yourself. And this is exactly what we witnessed throughout the course of the video. We saw the feelings of love displayed in the text messages between Victor and Somseed. We witnessed the intense feeling of curiosity when Victor was desperately trying to discover where his family vanished to, and how they could have disappeared from the house so suddenly. And finally, we witnessed the raw feeling of terror caused by the muffled footsteps, whispers, and strange occurrences happening down in the basement. It looks as if Victor had meticulously planned and mapped out every single detail of the scenario just to create a real, authentic documentary film. He eliminated his entire family simply to produce a complete, flawless piece of cinematic art that possesses every single element required to make a horror film highly successful. But of course, these are merely theories and are not fully confirmed up to this point. I firmly believe that we are going to discover far more about the real truth in the upcoming episodes of this series, because if we look closely at the title of this video, we will find that it explicitly says Volume 1. This strongly indicates and means that there will be a Volume 2, or a second part dropping in the future. And that was the full explanation and analysis of the ASL Analog Horror video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed yet. Peace out.